So I want to talk about this story from CBS because they brought on someone who actually told the truth live on air. And it's honestly a little refreshing. Now, I'm not going to give them too much credit, right? Because I think the only reason why they're even allowing the truth to be told live on air is because they have to now. They realize that people aren't tuning into mainstream media anymore. So I'm not going to give them too much credit. But I do want to talk about it a little bit because it is quite interesting. Now, I have a couple clips that I want to show you guys before we get into it because this story is about Joe Biden. So we're going to have to go down memory lane a little bit before we get to that. So with that being said, let's take a little trip down memory lane on how terrible Biden was, even though they kept telling us he was completely fine. Let's dive in.
Beer brewed here, it is used to make the brew beer. My memory is fine. The president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate. A solid meeting with and Mitterrand from Germany, from France, looked at me and said, I said, I'm going to be a president for everybody, whether you live in a red state or a green state. Anyway, I don't want to. Making Roe v. Wade. The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, of Putin's kleptocracy, yeah. $159 billion left. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to what am I doing here? One, two. I'm going to pronounce Shanga.
Yeah, that was the guy that they told us was completely fine. They continually told us that guy was okay. Even though we could see and we could hear with our own ears and see with our own eyes that he wasn't. And if you don't believe me, for those of you that may be new to politics, right? Let's take a little trip down memory lane with those clips of everyone from Karine Jean-Pierre to Alejandro Mayorkas saying Joe Biden, he's completely fine.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. You know, I can't even keep up with him.
The most difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it, because he is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
I can testify because I've been working very closely with this president for the past 2 years. I've been knowing him for 30 years. And I'm telling you, this guy's tough. He's smart. He's on his game.
Joe Biden has vision. He has knowledge. He has a strategic thinker.
The president is focused. He's detail-oriented. He's always thinking about the big picture.
He is engaging. He is capable. He has an incredible record as president.
And I'm often with him on foreign trips. He's at the top of his game.
So he has a vision. He has knowledge. He has judgment. He has a strategic thinking.
I met with the president, 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he seemed fine to me.
I have complete confidence in the president. I have watched him expertly guide meetings of staff and cabinet members. I could not have more confidence in the president.
I would just tell you that I meet frequently with the president, and every single time I meet with him, he is just fine.
But he is, again, knowledgeable, wise.
Incredibly sharp, incredibly probing, incredible command of the details.
He is sharp. He is on top of things.
There is nothing to these challenges, these suggestions that somehow he's not sharp and he's not capable.
We see Joe Biden up close. We know how attuned he is to the issue.
And you're going to see how smart he is and the experience he has.
I say his age is an asset.
Aha!
He's wise.
Yes, he's wise. He has wisdom. He has experience.
And his experience, because of his age and his wisdom, has been invaluable to this country.
A lot of countries, people who've been in office a longer period of time are praised for their wisdom.
I have seen a lot of 72-year-olds not as capable as this 80-year-old.
It is hard for us to keep up with this president.
His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years. He's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
And this kind of sense that he's not ready for this job is just a bucket of BS that's so deep, your boots will get stuck in.
Yeah.
So everyone from Merrick Garland to Alejandro Mayorkas to Chuck Schumer and everybody in between, all were lying. Every single one of them. Lying. Mainstream media included. And we're about to get into that because a lady by the name of Jane Crawford was on CBS and they had a segment where she was asked, one of the most underreported stories of 2024. And check out her answer because, wow. Wow, for once we finally get the truth out of someone on mainstream media. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff.
One of the things we also do in the year-end correspondence roundtable is dig into what was undercovered or underreported. Jan?
Undercovered, underreported. That would be, to me, Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline that became undeniable in the televised debate.
At the presidential debate with Donald Trump.
Unquestioned. And, it's starting to emerge now that his advisors kind of managed his limitations. It's been reported in the Wall Street Journal for 4 years. And yet he insisted that he could still run for president. We should have much more forcefully questioned whether he was fit for office for another 4 years, which could have led to a primary for the Democrats. It could have changed the scope of the entire election. Yet, still, incredibly, we read in the Washington Post that his advisors are saying that he regrets that he dropped out of the race. That he thinks he could have beaten Trump. And I think that is either delusional or they're gaslighting
President
American
Biden
people.
has said repeatedly he was sick during the debate June 27th in Atlanta, and he's always been fine, and he leaves fine. That is his position, the position of many of his top aides as well, even though there is that reporting.
Robert Costa.
Now, of course, that gentleman there at the end tried to come in and save the day, but, that's mainstream media for you, which is why I don't want to give them too much credit. But shout out to Jane Crawford, because she spoke the truth. Yeah, there wasn't enough reporting on it. People who are supposed to be journalists, right, didn't do their journalistic duty. And I believe that was completely intentional. Oh, and you heard like a little tidbit of it there. Well, Joe Biden claims that he was completely fine and he was just, what did you say, sick or something, and that's their position. Okay. Joe Biden said the sky is purple, but you can look up and see that it's blue. So are you going to believe that it's purple or are you going to believe that it's blue? Like, this stuff is so silly, but hey, keep at it, mainstream media. Keep at it. You will become obsolete in the very near future. I mean, they're already basically irrelevant at this point, and I think that's why you're starting to hear more and more tidbits of the truth coming out on mainstream media, because for the past 4 years, you didn't hear that. But now you have people like Jane Crawford. You have CNN with Scott Jennings, right? Who is always telling the truth. I mean, my goodness. He is constantly roasting Abby Phillips on her little show on CNN. And what is his name? Van Jones, right after the election, came out and was speaking some truth. I think I made a video on that as well. So, I mean, I'm not going to give these folks too much credit, but it is noteworthy that we got some truth, because for the past 4 years, it seems like we had no truth from our mainstream media, and it was completely intentional. But as I always say, let me know your thoughts on this. And yeah, man, do you think this will become more of the norm on mainstream media, telling the truth now? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I think me personally, I think it's going to take another election cycle where, they spew out their propaganda and they lose miserably. So I think after 2028, the whole landscape of mainstream media will change. But for the next 4 years, we're going to basically get what we've been getting for the past 4 with a little bit more truth sprinkled in, similar to what we've kind of been getting more recently, right? That's just my humble opinion. But what's yours? Peace and love. I'm out.